It was just another late-night shift at Walmart. By the time I clocked out, the store had already been dark and quiet for over an hour. Closing shifts always felt eerie. You spend so much time under bright fluorescent lights, surrounded by noise and people, and then suddenly you step outside and it's silence, an enormous empty parking lot under buzzing lamps. That night, it was colder than usual. My breath hung in the air as I pushed the door open and walked out with my backpack slung over one shoulder. The asphalt stretched out in front of me, dotted with maybe 10 cars at most. It felt like I had the entire place to myself, or at least that's what I thought. I was halfway across the lot when I noticed him. A man leaning against one of the cart returns, maybe 30 or 40 feet from where my car was parked. At first, it didn't seem strange. Walmart always has people hanging around employees on break, people waiting for rides, but there was something wrong about him. He wasn't smoking, wasn't on his phone, wasn't moving at all, wasn't standing. His body was stiff, rigid, almost like he'd been planted there. I slowed down without realizing it, my keys gripped tighter in my hand. I glanced around. No one else was in sight. The other cars were empty, their windows reflecting the harsh yellow glow of the overhead lights. Then he looked at me. It wasn't a casual glance. His head tilted up slow, deliberate, and his face came into view. His skin looked pale, almost gray in the sickly light. His eyes seemed too wide, and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile that felt wrong, like it was forced onto his face, stretched there against its will. I looked away quickly, pretending I hadn't seen. My pace quickened. I told myself he was harmless, maybe drunk, maybe just some guy loitering. Still, every step felt heavier, my instincts screaming louder with each second. I was almost to my car when I realized something that made my stomach drop. He wasn't alone. 2 rows over, a dark-colored sedan sat idling, no headlights, just the faint glow of a dashboard. Behind the wheel was another shadowy figure, sitting perfectly still. The man at the cart glanced toward that car, then back at me. That was the moment it clicked. This wasn't random. He was waiting for me. I shoved my key into the door and yanked it open, sliding in fast and locking the doors with trembling hands. The cold leather stuck to my palms as I gripped the steering wheel. Footsteps. I turned my head and saw him moving toward me now. Not running, just walking. Slow and steady. That awful smile plastered on his face. He came straight from my driver's side and without hesitation, grabbed the handle. The lock rattled violently. I screamed and slammed my hand on the horn, the blaring noise exploding across the silent lot.
My entire body shook as I pressed it down, the sound echoing off the empty building.
For the first time, his expression cracked. His smile faltered, his eyes narrowing. He stepped back just as the other car's headlights flicked on. That was all I needed. I threw the car into reverse, tires screeching against the pavement as I shot backward. The smell of burnt rubber filled the air. I shifted into drive and sped out of the lot, my heart hammering so hard I could barely see. In my rearview mirror, I caught sight of the dark sedan pulling out too. Headlights on now. Following, my hands were slick with sweat as I gripped the wheel tighter, weaving through empty streets. Every turn I made, the car followed. I took random back roads I didn't even know, praying I wasn't trapping myself deeper into town. My breathing came fast and shallow, the world blurring past in streaks of light and shadow. After nearly 10 minutes of frantic driving, I finally lost them. I pulled into a gas station, parked under the harsh floodlights, and sat there shaking so hard I couldn't unclench my fists. My chest hurt from how hard my heart was pounding. I checked my mirrors over and over, expecting headlights to reappear, but none did. I don't remember how long I stayed there. It's maybe 30 minutes, maybe longer. So eventually I forced myself to drive home. When I got there, I locked every door and window, then sat awake until dawn, replaying it all in my head. The next day I told my manager I couldn't work closing shifts anymore. I didn't care if I lost hours. I couldn't go back out into that lot alone at night. People always laugh when I tell them I'm afraid of parking lots. They picture bright lights and shopping carts, nothing dangerous. But I know the truth now, because somewhere out there 2 men were waiting for me to make one mistake, waiting for me to hesitate. Next time I might not be fast enough. I usually avoid shopping at Walmart during the day. Too many people, too much noise. So when I needed a few things late one night, a mop, some cleaning supplies, a pack of paper towels. Went around 11:30 p.m., thinking the store would be practically empty. And it was. Eerily so. The automatic doors hissed as I entered, and the fluorescent lights hummed softly above. It was quiet, almost too quiet. Except for the distant beep of a register somewhere at the front, and the faint crackle of the intercom announcing a sale I barely noticed. The aisles stretched ahead, perfectly organized, yet somehow, I moved toward the back of the store, where cleaning supplies were kept. That's when I noticed her. A woman. She stood at the end of aisle 14, motionless. Her long black hair fell straight down her back, brushing the top of the shelves, and she faced away from me, as if she didn't notice my presence. At first, I thought nothing of it. People sometimes froze to look at a product or check their phones. But something about her posture was off, too stiff, deliberate. Like she had been planted there, rooted to the floor, waiting. I tried to tell myself I was imagining things. Maybe it was the shadows. Maybe the fluorescent lights were playing tricks on me, but the feeling of being watched crawled up my spine. My steps slowed instinctively as I passed the end of the aisle. Then, I noticed her again. I had turned into the next aisle, hoping to give myself some distance. But as I peeked between shelves, she was there. Same position, same stillness. My heart skipped. I paused, holding my breath. The air seemed heavier, colder. I could almost hear my own heartbeat in the silence. I tried moving faster, rationalizing that it was just another shopper. Maybe she was lost. But each time I glanced back, she seemed closer. Not physically, but closer. Like her presence was stretching toward me, creeping along the floor tiles, seeping into my awareness. I decided to confront it. I turned into aisle 14 deliberately, walking toward her, forcing myself not to panic. That's when I saw her profile, her face. It was horrifying. Her mouth hung open as if she were screaming silently, her eyes hollow, dark pits staring straight ahead. Her skin was pale, almost gray under the fluorescent lights, and there was a subtle twitch in her jaw, like she was trying to say something but couldn't. I froze, unable to breathe. A sense of vertigo hit me. My stomach turned. I wanted to run, but my legs felt rooted to the floor. I could hear the faint hum of the lights above and the distant echo of carts squeaking across the polished floor. But everything else, the whole world, seemed swallowed by her presence. I forced myself to step backward. My breathing was uneven, shaky. My hands were clammy as I gripped the shopping cart, trying to keep it between us. I told myself it was just a trick of the light. Maybe she was a mannequin someone had left in the aisle, but no mannequin ever twitched. No mannequin ever slowly turned its head. Her head tilted slightly and her hollow gaze seemed to follow me. I bolted. My cart clattered against the shelves as I sprinted down the nearest aisle. Ignoring the sharp pain in my shoulder from the handle bumping a shelf, I passed the frozen cleaning supply section, turned a corner, and almost collided with another late-night shopper. Sorry, I gasped, but the aisle behind me was empty. She was gone. I swallowed hard, trying to calm my racing heart. Maybe she had left. Maybe I had imagined it entirely. But the feeling of being watched didn't leave me. I could sense her presence lingering in the shadows, flickering along the edges of my vision. Every aisle I passed, every shelf I rounded, my instincts screamed that she was there, waiting. I finally reached the front of the store, hoping to find an employee. "Excuse me?" I called to the cashier. "There's a woman back in the aisles. Something's wrong with her." The cashier gave me a blank stare. A woman? In aisle 14?
Oh, nobody's supposed to be back there at this hour.
I frowned, confused. I just saw her. She was standing there, really still. Something about her was wrong. The employee shook her head. Maybe it was a mannequin or some display they forgot to take out. Go home, it's late. I wasn't convinced. My stomach churned as I forced myself to walk back toward aisle 14, heart hammering. But when I got there, nothing. No woman, no display, no movement at all. Just the shelves, perfectly organized, exactly as they'd been. A shiver ran down my spine. I backed away slowly, glancing over my shoulder, telling myself it was over. That it was just a trick of the fluorescent lights and my imagination running wild. Still, As I pushed my cart toward the exit, I couldn't shake the feeling that she hadn't really left. That somewhere, in the shadows of the store, she was still standing, watching, waiting. I don't go back to that Walmart at night anymore. Even now, if I'm alone and I think I see someone at the end of an aisle, my heart races. Because sometimes, the people you see in those aisles aren't really people at all. I'll never forget that night. I had gone to Walmart around 10 p.m. after a long shift, just to grab some snacks and a new phone charger. I wasn't expecting anything unusual, just a quick trip, get in, get out. But the moment I stepped through those automatic doors, I felt it. Something in the air was off. The store smelled faintly of cleaning chemicals mixed with the lingering scent of fried food from the deli. The lights hummed overhead, casting long, harsh shadows along the empty aisles. And then I saw him, a man near the entrance, tall, scruffy, wearing a dirty baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. At first I didn't pay attention. Walmart always has a few late-night loiterers. But as I walked toward electronics, I caught him staring at me. Not casually, not a glance that passes and fades. He was watching, intently. I shook it off and focused on the shelves, pretending I hadn't noticed. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But then, moments later, he appeared again, near the DVDs, pretending to browse, a few feet away. Every time I moved, he moved, always within my peripheral vision. My stomach tightened. I tried doubling back, heading toward Home Goods, hoping to lose him. But he was there. Always there. Watching, pretending to look at something on the shelf, but his eyes were locked on mine. I could feel my pulse in my throat. My hands were clammy, fingers trembling. My breathing quickened. I pulled out my phone, thumb hovering over the screen, and texted my roommate. "Someone's following me in Walmart. Stay on standby." I tried convincing myself it was coincidence. Maybe he just happened to be going the same way I was. Maybe I was imagining it, but then I tested it. I walked slowly down another aisle, feigning interest in a lamp. And there he was, a moment later, at the far end of the aisle, looking as if he was casually browsing. My heart nearly stopped. I knew then, he wasn't just watching, he was following. I made my way to the registers, thinking maybe the crowd there would mask my movements. But even in the line, I could feel him. Across the store, near the electronics display, he lingered, watching, silent. Panic gripped me. I felt trapped in a maze, the fluorescent lights above suddenly harsh and unforgiving. I wanted to leave, but I didn't know how to get past him safely. Every instinct screamed, "Do not go out those doors." I lingered near customer service, pretending to check my receipt. Minutes crawled by, scanned the aisles, trying to convince myself he had left. But the feeling never went away. Finally, I decided I couldn't risk it. I made my way to the exit cautiously, peering through the glass doors. And there he was, directly across from the entrance, pretending to smoke a cigarette. Head down, baseball cap low, hands in his pockets. But his eyes, when they lifted toward mine, they were sharp, predatory. My stomach dropped. I panicked. I turned back inside and ran to the greeter. "There's a man outside. He's been following me through the store. Please call security." The greeter didn't hesitate. She ushered me to the back office where I could wait safely while someone checked the parking lot. But when security went to look, the lot was empty. No man, no sign of him. My pulse slowed slightly, but my hands were still shaking, my breath coming in uneven bursts. I sat in that office, staring at the fluorescent ceiling tiles, replaying every moment in my mind. Every subtle twitch, every step he took, every glance. It was surreal, like he had vanished into thin air. I left the store with an employee walking me to my car, my body tense, ready to bolt at the slightest movement. The lot looked calm now, peaceful even, but my senses screamed at me that it was just an illusion. The next morning, though, was worse. When I went to check my car, something was there. Folded piece of paper tucked under the windshield wiper. A Walmart receipt. My stomach sank as I unfolded it, hands trembling. It's on the back. Written in messy, jagged penmanship were the words, "I'll see you next time." I froze. My mind went blank. 100 thoughts raced through my head at once. Who was he? How had he gotten this close? Had he been following me outside the store as well? And would he come back? I didn't know. I still don't. I haven't returned to that Walmart since that night. Every time I pass by it now, even in the middle of the day, my skin crawls, and I can't help but wonder. Sometimes the people who follow you in stores are patient. They wait, they observe, and they always know exactly when you're alone. That night changed me, made me hyper-aware of my surroundings, distrustful, always looking over my shoulder. And though the man never showed himself again, the fear he left behind, that fear never left me, because I know he's out there somewhere, waiting for another Walmart, another night, another Target, and the thought of running into him again makes my blood run cold.